How you doing, everybody? We'll get started here in just a minute. Um, we'll see how things go, and we'll give her our best shot. We'll give it another minute or so, and then I'll get started. Make sure my phone is turned to silent, so we don't have any unintended interruptions. Last time I did this, or one of the times I was doing a webinar for working with a client, I had a page out for our technical field force. It was just a test, but it set off both my phones. Very distracting moment. Okay. So I am silenced. Okay. Okay. So if you're tuning in live, thank you for showing up. If you are seeing this as a recording, thank you for watching it. My name is Jesse Pimental. I am a full-time police officer in the state of Wisconsin. I am also a master certified professional coach, and my area of focus is working with officers in law enforcement, corrections, communications, whether it's working with what's the other one I work with? That is uh, also offer services to those in the judicial branch as well, that are impacted by the effects of the justice system and all that that entails. So anybody along the way, those are my clients. Um, I got into um, the coaching field in this. I guess it was probably about over a year ago now, and I had kind of fell into my own burnout and had to really work hard to get myself out of it. And I would have liked to have known ahead of time that, um, what I was experiencing was having me go down that road of burnout. So if I had been more aware of the situation at hand, I could have addressed it along the way. And that's really my main purpose in doing these webinars, is to increase awareness. Okay, we're not going to change somebody's whole life, in a short webinar, but I do want to get the awareness out there of things related to officer wellness. Now, um, if you were originally scheduled for this webinar, I had it set for an hour earlier, but then I had just to kind of give you an experience of what life can be like, uh, or the hecticness of what life can be like. I'm sure you already know, but it's I've got a million things going on at work. I get a text from my son at about 2:30. Dad, I need to get picked up at 5:30 and be from my friend's house and taken to soccer for 6 o'clock. Okay, well, can mom do that? Well, no, because mom's working. Okay, so mom's out of the question. I'm like, well, I got a webinar planned for 5:30 Central Time, and I'm gonna go till 6 o'clock. but that wouldn't give enough time to get him. He had to go back to his mom's to get his stuff for soccer and then go to soccer. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll push back the webinar. So I pushed back the webinar, and then here we are. So just a little background as far as that goes. And so if you were originally scheduled for the 5:30, I appreciate you showing up now. I know it was not always easy to do, and I thank you for your flexibility. And if you're watching this now on recording because you couldn't make it, thank you for showing up. So again, hecticness. And I was almost gonna not do this at all tonight, even though I was really looking forward to it. Um, so my current role in law enforcement is I'm a school resource officer. So if you've ever been a school resource officer or you are a school resource officer, you know that May, the month before school gets out, is extremely busy, hectic. Um, and pretty much just nonstop. So for me, and not to mention that in outside of work, I've also got son playing soccer, another son doing track. My daughter likes to go to her friend's house and do go shopping and things like this. So I'm like all over the place, right? Just like you are, I'm sure, or you have been at some point. So um, Matt, just like a comment, thanks for joining us today. Um, so when when life starts to get really hectic, that's when we start to that's when we can start to experience signs of burnout or starting to get stressed out, emotionally fatigued, so to the point where um, we start to be a little bit shorter fused, a little bit less likely to be tolerable for different people in our environment, whether it's at home or at work. That stuff starts to infiltrate our lives and starts to impact all areas of our lives. Okay. It's not just something that is, well, I'm go to work, I'm going to shut it off and have no issues. And then when I come home, I'll open it up and, take it out on people at home or vice versa. It doesn't just, you can't just cut it on and off sometimes. So, um, really understanding the impact of, um, our mental health and mental wellness in law enforcement. So the reason why I was telling you about all that carting around and stuff and it being May and an SRO life and wanting to maybe considering maybe not hosting this tonight. I'm bringing that up because I am starting to sense in my own life that I'm starting to see signs and symptoms of burnout again in my life. And as I stated in the beginning, I overcame a lot of that in last year and really catapulted my life into opening up a business and um, becoming a master certified coach, getting out there and helping other people with their wellness. And now here I am starting to experience it again. But the good thing is now I am informed. Okay. Had this been me last year, or so I've been an SRO for now for 3 years, and every year it's the same. When May comes, stress levels increase and people needing things done, it's just nonstop. Not always like something like drastically serious or busy, once in a while, but just like everything, from every different direction. And then it's like all at once too, like I don't get just one person call me and then uh, get another call like an hour later. No, it's like everybody calls at the same exact time. I don't know how they coordinate that or who's like coordinating this whole. Let's reach out to Jesse all at once, but whoever that is, if you could kindly stop doing that, I'd appreciate that. But I'm starting to notice it. So The key thing is now that I notice it, I'm aware of it, I can start to address some of those aspects and take steps in my life now at the early stages of it, so that way it does not evolve into full-blown burnout where it starts to impact all areas of my life drastically like it did over a year ago. So I was gonna push it back, and I posted this morning on LinkedIn, and actually I think I posted it on Facebook too. I put a post up, it's kind of just inspirational, like um, you know, don't give up on yourself, and don't let the hard days win was my typed comment to the post. And somebody posted, "Thank you for posting this. This is exactly what I needed to hear today." Simple comment, nothing like significant really. But when you think about having an impact on somebody, sometimes you just post things to post, and sometimes you post things to be inspirational, but sometimes you post things and you don't understand the impact that it has on other people. So I did not plan that. It just does that. Every time I do this, it pops up. Anyway, so I'm here tonight because of that post. So thank you to the officer that posted that this morning, the comment to my post about it being something that you need to hear, because whether or not this is extremely informative tonight for you or not, or whenever you're watching it, that's fine, because for somebody it might be, even if you just take away one thing, maybe it's something I've already said, it resonated with you and it got you through whatever you're going through, or increased awareness for you so that way things didn't cascade out of hand for you. Um, that's what tonight's all about for me. So I did not back out to take time for myself tonight, but I guarantee you I will be taking time for myself very shortly because, like I said, I'm starting to see some signs and symptoms of burnout, and my officer wellness is going down. But I am informed. So let's inform others. So um, if you didn't turn into the first officer wellness session I did last month, these are monthly. So if you want to tune in, I will be as summer comes along. I think I'm going to try to maybe do it more frequently since it's only a half hour. I specifically made it a half hour instead of an hour or longer because I want this to be something fairly quick, something that you can come in, get something out of, and get back on with your life. Um, I will be trying to make these more frequently since they only half hours. But I will also be planning a master class, which is going to be like a longer, more extensive version, maybe 2 or 3 hours long. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully, I'd like to get that going this summer. The both of those actually, the uh, increased frequency of these wellness training videos, and then also the masterclass. So I do want to touch on these here. Okay, so again, it's going to be about increasing awareness for you. And then if we have time, which I've talked for almost half the time already, and I'm just getting into these now, so I probably won't get into it. But I do want to talk about the importance of developing a morning routine for you. If you don't work a normal day shift, or you don't work, you know, whenever your work schedule is, creating your beginning of your day routine. And that's something that if I don't get into it today, guaranteed that will be something that we'll be talking about in the future because that is highly beneficial and can lead to a lot of great things in your life, including being more successful, and more productive in your life. So, 5 areas of officer wellness: um, the physical, the emotional, or psychological, spiritual, social, and then occupational. Sometimes I have seen these. So when you compare this list to other officer wellness lists, they are pretty similar to most other ones that you'll see out there. There is a sixth one, or one that is commonly seen as number five there in other officer wellness programs, is financial. So having a good understanding of finances, especially when you're first getting into the career, to start to develop good financial sense, good financial habits, and increasing your awareness in that and your wellness in that area can also be one that is very beneficial. So, not up here today, but just know that that is one that is often referred to, and also one that is highly important to an officer's wellness. Okay, so physical. Obviously, first thing that jumps out to mind is your taking care of your body, right? Whether it's going for walks, lifting weights, cycling, running, um, doing some sort of physical activity, whether it's martial arts or um, interpretive dance. I don't know. It could anything that move your body that um, can improve your wellness. And how it does that is it starts to change your mental state. So anytime that your body starts moving, your brain starts to change a little bit, starts to get into a different state where you are more able to think clearly. Your work production will increase. Um, you'll be more creative and able to process. So moving your body, and not only that, but it also decreases stress and anxiety levels in your body, how you feel and respond to those. So it can be very beneficial in managing um, anxiety and feelings, physical feelings of stress. So, but beyond that, so it's not just about like being physical to look good or be strong or be able to physically manage the demands of the job. It is also for your health and your wellness, your mind and your body. Okay, so you got to think about it. In law enforcement, we are oftentimes, especially early on in your career, you are in a squad and you are working shift work. So if you are doing that, it's very common for people to start to eat out, get takeout, or go through drive through and fast food, or buy energy drinks with sugar, all kinds of sugar in it. Um, you know, extreme amount of coffee with also with cream, sugar, you know, caramel syrup or chocolate. Like people add all kinds of things, cream, like whipped cream, like everything. So when you start to do that and you start to incorporate all those things into your life, it has a deteriorating effect to your body and your mental well-being. So physical isn't just physical isn't just like physically moving your body, but it's also diet, sleep, um, making sure that you are aware of the stress that comes from the job and how it affects your body, your heart health, your um, when you start to be exposed to stressful situations. In law enforcement, you can go from sitting there like almost falling asleep to go responding to a critical incident, just like that, like literally. especially if you're working third shift, right? So you got to be able to take care of your body so that way your body will respond quicker and easier. When you are physically stressing your body under controlled situations like running or doing some sort of aerobic activity, you're stressing your body in a way similar, not exact, but similar to a crisis situation. So when you do that, you start to expose your body to some of those similar features of a critical incident. So when your body is tested like that in a controlled basis on a regular basis of working out or whatever your mode of physical activity is, your body responds better and is able to rebound better so you can think more clearly, make critical decisions, decisive decisions in critical moments, and respond better to those situations and get yourself under control a lot better than you were going into it. So it is more encompassing than a lot of people may think. So emotional and psychological. So I just posted the other day about hypervigilance. So in law enforcement, officers are constantly observing. We're being very hypervigilant, especially if we're on a call. We don't want people coming into our call that could threaten our safety, our our other officers' safety. So we're constantly being observant to a very hyper status. And that can start to deteriorate your mental and emotional well-being. So, you know, even though like you go into law enforcement, I'm built for this. I'm like, this is what I do. I've been doing this for 5, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is. Even like a race car, a race car is designed to drive extremely fast on a racetrack, going all over the place constantly, right? But even race cars break down. Even though it's built for that exact feature, it still breaks down and requires maintenance and upkeep. And if you're not doing that, then you will too. The officer will too. Okay. I know I've been speaking to primarily speaking to you as if you were the officer. But if you are a loved one or a friend or somebody that is in law enforcement, or this could be them too. Okay, so share that information with them. You know, when we're constantly being exposed to crisis situations and trauma, we can start to experience vicarious trauma, where experiencing the same traumas as our victims, as our witnesses. You know, and if you are removed from the road and you're in the office now at a desk a lot, you know, a lot of times you'll have to watch body cam. So you're being vicariously exposed to that trauma also. So it's very important that we continue to take time for ourselves, to take breaks, um, take some time doing things that make you happy and that bring you enjoyment and give yourself time to de-escalate. I'm talking about outside of the work environment. You can do little things while you're working, as far as like breathing techniques and um, we when I first got into law force, well, when I first got into my current agency about 10 years ago, we used to really stress um, energetic breathing, where we're breathing in, holding it, breathing it out, holding it, breathing it in, holding. I have seen other techniques as well that are similar, but if you know Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's a neuroscientist and ophthalmologist, Huberman podcast, he was talking about some research out there about a double inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth to help de-escalate and control your emotional state. It's like doing that has a very strong, very research based. evidence-based studied effect on the human body. I don't know all the science. That's not my jam, but that's one way. I've seen other doctors talk about anytime that you breathe in through your nose and you breathe out longer than you breathe in through your nose, you're causing a reaction in your body that is calming. It's de-stressing, de-escalating yourself. Another one that we talk about a lot with area of emotional and psychological well-being is cynicism. If you are in law enforcement for any amount of time, you know who in your agency or in a former agency, who this person was that was cynical. You know, um, oh, I know that I know that guy. Don't worry, he's fine. Oh, he's gonna, blah, 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 blah," like no matter what you say, no matter what it's all negative, negative Nancy's, right? So it's basically so cynicism is basically you are everything that you're looking at every situation through a negative lens. So instead of just being an open-minded individual, everything that is said by somebody or anybody that someone does or anything that you're told, you're automatically viewing it through a negative lens. Okay. And that's not good for your mental well-being. And if you are experiencing that already, you notice that in yourself already, it's a wake-up call. Okay. Because this job will get you to that point. You know, one of the things that is also talked about in officer wellness is compassion fatigue. We start to get fatigued with, um, we start to become so cynical that we start to lose our compassion for those that we're serving. Okay, because we've seen it so many times. We've seen so much that it's just like, it's like, oh, well, whatever. Being cynical can contribute to that. So one of the things that I talk about, and I've seen others talk about as well in this officer wellness space, is instead of so the argument is being cynical and acting the way that I'm maybe not cynical, but acting the way that I've described, and being very cautious about people and being suspicious of people is that's what keeps them alert. That's what keeps them alive on the streets. Okay. There is some truth to that, right? But instead of being cynical and looking at everything through a negative lens and automatically assuming everything's negative, be skeptical. So, skeptical is doubt or the possibility of doubt, but it's through a neutral lens. You are not automatically assuming that the worst in somebody, but you're skeptical. Okay. You're going to try to manage through that. I see that we're getting close on time here, so I'm going to push through a little bit faster here. Spiritual does not, it can be religious, but it doesn't mean religion solely. It's basically believing in a higher power than yourself, a bigger purpose, you're serving something larger than yourself, right? You're not just going to a job, you are serving the community. You are standing up for justice in our society. You are, the thin line between good and evil. You're something bigger than yourself. So being mindful of that and having a healthy relationship with either your religion or having a healthy relationship with in a spiritual sense, in a greater purpose sense, is very vital to officer wellness. Social, when we start to talk about social, we are we are often times in law enforcement, we start to become we can become isolated from others, and then outside of work, right? We don't hang out with the same people anymore a lot of times, and we start to hang out more with those that are only in law enforcement, or hang out only with people in law enforcement. And what happens with that is that if we're hanging out with other officers only, and they are having a lot of these same things, concerns, and their wellness in this area here, and all these, we start to surround ourselves with only people that are in the same situation as us. And that's not good for your well being. Okay. Try to find people to hang out with and socialize with outside of law enforcement. Doesn't mean you got to disown all law enforcement. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. But branch out a little bit. Be exposed to people that view the world in a different sense, right? Because when we're in law enforcement, we see things and we experience things and we have to do things that most people in this world don't understand. They'll never understand. They'll never understand the magnitude of what we have to do and what we have to be exposed to. So, but being surrounded by people that have the different lens of the world can be very eye opening and be a wellness, a breath of fresh air for us. Um, Occupational, it can be as simple as wanting to be promoted and not getting promoted. You know, you could be in a position that you don't like, so therefore it starts to deteriorate your wellness. You can get promoted, or you can get an assignment, work really hard to get there, and then you get there only to find out you do not like this at all. Now what? Now you're stuck for however long it takes you to get out of it, if that's what you desire to do, or try to make the best of it and try to get into a situation where you are being in the best position as you can. You know, a lot of times we get into this profession to make a difference. But then when we get into we start to, oh, I want to help people, right? How many times we heard that? Want to help people. You get into law enforcement and you realize that you are not making the impact, or you perceived not making the impact that you thought you were going to make. And that can be very discouraging and can start to deteriorate your wellness. So, take time for yourself, take breaks, become, more physical, get involved, talking to people outside of law enforcement. It can be very good and beneficial to vent to other officers. Okay. But it shouldn't be your go-to. It should not be what you do on a regular basis only, right? You need to have feedback that is positive and not only supporting your negative view on whatever it is that you're venting about. Okay. Because then you start to, just build it and build and build and build. And then you got a big pile of bad stuff, right? So, officer wellness. Okay. I have a lot that I want to talk about. I got a lot of things that I want to address. I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. But, and I did tease a little bit about routines, morning routines, or the beginning of your day routine. I should just change it to the beginning of your day routine, because in law enforcement, we're working all kinds of shifts. So the beginning of your day routines, okay? Being consistent with it is probably the biggest thing that you can do. Be consistent with your routine that you start your day with. Okay. I've already gone over time, so I apologize a little bit for that, but I'm passionate about this stuff. I want to give you the most information I can. I want to increase awareness so that way you can start to recognize things that you see in your life, so that way, or somebody that you know's life, and start to make some positive changes or positive recommendation. Um, Matt, thanks for popping in when you did. I see your comment there. I appreciate you. I support you. I want the best for you as well. If anything I can do to help you, reach out to me. You can slide into my DMs if you want to get more information. Coach Pimental at gmail.com. leave a comment, smash the like button, do all that stuff that everybody at the end of things tell you to say and do. So I appreciate you. Stay tuned. I'll do this again in June. I probably won't go quicker than a month, especially since I already started off by saying May is absolutely wild in the schools. Um, so starting off this summer, I'm going to try to do this more frequently and have longer times so that way I don't run over and um, um, not get to all the stuff that I want to get to. So I appreciate you guys all. Hopefully you got something out of it. Even just one thing, take one thing away, be better for it. This also helps me in my own uh, signs and symptoms of burnout, starting to refresh these areas of wellness in my mind, my brain, also helps me. So if you are like Matt and you are out there helping others as well, every time you do this, you are benefiting yourself as well. And I guarantee you somebody else as well. So take care of you, take care of others. And remember, you're better than you think. Be a beast. See you next time.